Hello, my name is ZackaryBolen. I'm the agriculture teacher at Cordia High School. We started this ARI grant. I started it with Mr. Evans. He is my co-teacher. I want to have him come up and help me present today. We co-teach 7th period agrobiology, and we decided we wanted to bring something into the classroom that we both could have a good effect on, him teaching biology and me teaching agriculture. So we decided upon this grant, which would be our hydroponics grant.
Thanks. Just a little bit about our school. I like to think that we're very unique, but I got to admit, probably in Eastern Kentucky, there's many small schools. We were founded in 1933. We have, I think, 250 pre-K through 12th graders all in one building. This year, we've got 13 graduating seniors. So we're very small. We're the oldest settlement school that I'm aware of still operating in the state of Kentucky as a public school system. We started in a little one-room cabin with a Sears Roebuck catalog and a Bible. So, as I'm sure most of you all have, we have some problems in our community. We've got a lot of brain drain. We've got a lot of displaced minors. We've got a lot of people that are looking for something to do. And what we wanted to do was to try to find a way that we could encompass traditional growing methods, take them another step farther, and give people a way to use even reclaimed strip mine land in a way that would be environmentally responsible and economically feasible. So let's take a look at the system that we've produced here. This was the system whenever we very first put it together. What we do here is basically we raise tilapia, which is this white fish you get at Walmart. We grow fish down here in this bucket in the 55-gallon barrel. We feed the fish poop, and we pump the fish poop right up these tubes here and into the grow beds. The grow beds, there are bacteria that live here that help with the nitrogen process, nitrogen fixation. So this is a huge biofilter for the fish. So the fish are providing the nutrients for the plants, and the plants are providing the filtration for our fish. We basically started just with some herbs and a few tomato plants. What we would like to do is eventually move this to a larger system, expand on it, and grow lettuce and spinach, which we would then use in our school cafeteria, maybe once monthly, to supplement our side salads with our lunches. So in a year, these fish will be old enough to eat. Hopefully by then we'll have a breeding pair that will be providing us with eggs, so that we don't have to keep ordering fish, and it'll be a little natural machine in our classroom. And I got to say, we're both new teachers at the school, both been there, well, 2 years. So we had relationships with our students, but I personally didn't have a real strong connection with many of them. However, after growing this system, and then because they've been gardening their whole lives, you know, some of these, even the freshmen, you know, they come in, and this is our connection. You know, they want to come in, they want to see what's growing, they want to see how the tomato plants, they want to count the tomatoes on our tomato plants, they want to measure the fish, you know, they want to check the root growth. So it's been a way for us to get those kids engaged and on board with what we're trying to do there. Let's go to the next.
I just want to expand on this picture a little bit, just talk about some of the ingenuity that we use. This container here is an old syrup barrel that we cut off, and that's what's used to hold our tilapia. Our tilapia are only about the size of, I'd compare it to a goldfish that you would buy at Walmart right now, so not ready to eat just yet. Our students are the ones that put together this frame for our container. They help mix what's inside of this is expanded clay pellets. Those help hold water for the roots for these plants that we've put in, and the little white beads in here as well.
So we had the plants growing in the system, and we had to place the order for the fish. So from a hatchery in Missouri, we ordered 50 tilapia. We've got about 20 of them still alive, but this was the first day that the fish got there. So like it had been built up for weeks. Okay, the plants are going, we got to get these fish. Well, by golly, here come the fish. You know, and we're expecting 50 fish, and you know, these big multiple shipments, they come in this little tiny bag, and they're all, you know, 2 centimeters big. And but even at the small size, this was a big day for us in the lab. So this was our holding tank where we got them kind of set up and made sure that they were healthy and happy and disease-free before we put them into the big system. So here we are planting our first crop. We've got all kinds of different herbs. I think at least 8 different types of herbs. 2 of our bioag students. The students have done all of this. I mean, it's a lot of work. It would be a lot of work if it's just me and him doing it. But we've got a motto in the lab: we don't work, we teach. So. If there is something we can show a kid what to do, that's what we're going to do, you know. And it's not that we're lazy. I mean, maybe a little, but I mean, if they can do it hands-on, that's what they're going to learn from. So they have planted everything. They take care of everything. Let's see. We've talked about that. We can go on from that. So we've talked a lot about plant physiology, plant anatomy, fish ecology, fish anatomy, fish physiology, chemistry. This has been a crash course in water chemistry, and I think it's really helped for our kids to understand we are right on a small creek called Lots Creek. And a lot of times I'll take kids out and we'll either be looking at the birds or we'll be catching fish in fish traps in the creeks. But what I really wanted to do is explain to them that what an important resource that small little creek is outside, and how much of eastern Kentucky really depends on these little tiny creeks for livelihood. You know, clean water, even if you're not drinking from it, is going to influence the ecology of the area. The fish and the wildlife, the microinvertebrates and all that stuff in that creek are directly responsible for how healthy our ecosystem is in this area. So us teaching them about water chemistry and pollution, and that's another thing here. This is a pollution-free, essentially, a pollution-free way to grow. It is a closed ecosystem. There's no pesticides needed to use in this. So what we would envision for our students is to use some of their either pasture land or some of the reclaimed mine sites to build just a high tunnel or a low tunnel system greenhouse, have some fish in it, and they can support themselves. It's a really interesting concept. So this is the current state of the system. You can see everything's growing kind of gangbusters in here. We've got basil, cilantro, sage, just all kinds of different stuff growing in there. So that's pretty much it. Let's see what the last one is. Oh, for our data, whenever we put this thing together, we gave them a pretest because we wanted to see if the students were actually learning. Let's go back a slide. So for an example, one of the questions from the pretest was, this kind of a deficiency can result in chlorosis between darkened veins, especially in lower leaves. This is a common condition that could also lead to necrosis. And they'd have to know that that's iron deficiency, not that they did in the pretest. So our pretest average was 18%. After they had grown and used this system for 4 months, that average came up to 81%. So we've demonstrated that students are learning, and they're gaining hands-on experience that they can use for the rest of their lives. I know that this area has got several big greenhouses coming into the area as far as industry goes, and that's what I'd love to see happening over in Knott County.
I just want to take the moment to talk about what a great teaching tool that this has been. Of course, this system hasn't always been perfect. We've had some some yellowing in their leaves and stuff like that. And whenever that happens, students, you know, they get really concerned. And that really goes back to how much our student initiative has really increased just doing this project. They're always back in there trying to look for problems. And we found out through that and some studying, we had an iron deficiency, things of that nature. It was just a great teaching tool for teaching macro, mineral, and macronutrients.
So we do have some plans for the future. As I mentioned, we would like to be supplementing our school side salads once a month. And I think what we could do in the future is instead of using tilapia in our system, use smallmouth bass. And then once those bass get large enough, we could release those into both the creek that's on our campus and also some of the other smallmouth streams in the area. So that would be a benefit not only for us, but local sportsmen, local families that still go out to these creeks and catch fish and take them home and eat, So we're looking for ways that we can be a benefit not only for our students but our community as a whole. And I think next year we're going to have some big things coming out of Cordia High School. So, all right, anything else? All right, thank you all.